Welcome back to American History Express, Gen Z Edition, Part 7. I'm Asia Harriet Hales, and I will be your educator. There are 6 other videos in this series, and if you haven't watched them, this won't make much sense to you, so go back and do that. I'll be here. You done? Great. So Hurricane Ivan caused a subsea landslide, and this is very different than a landslide that actually happens on land. And I was trying to figure out how to show you guys the difference, and then I did. So there will be a visual aid for this section. For the purposes of this demonstration, this pink lemonade powder is the sand, and this water is the ocean. Do you see how the little pile of sand is already collapsing? But you can still see the sand on the bottom, right? It's still there. It's just being held in place by the pressure of an ocean. See, oceans have waves all the time. That's the normal function of oceans. But when a hurricane comes, it increases those waves by pushing air downwards. But it also grows in size by sucking water upwards. But Ivan wasn't a regular hurricane. See, Ivan was a Category 5. Meaning, he took in more water, and he pushed more air downwards. What happened to our cut? What happened to our big-ass pile of sand? Where is it? It's gone. My mama is rolling in her grave for me wasting this much lemonade, y'all. But I think it was worth it because I do think it's a good example of what happens when large storms come. You're still going to have some sediment on the bottom, but a lot of the sand gets displaced. And sometimes that displacement happens really fast and causes an underwater landslide. Regular landslides might be deadly for like tens of miles, even if they're terribly bad, hundreds of miles. Subsea landslides, we're talking a scale of thousands of miles. But because they happen under the ocean's surface, we really don't pay a lot of attention to them. So Hurricane Ivan caused this gigantic subsea landslide that we weren't paying any attention to and that the news didn't cover, because guess what's down there in the sediment? Deep water drilling. See, when all that sediment collapses downwards, it takes everything on the ocean floor with it. So Taylor's oil wells were submerged and swept away. But there's one that's just buried and leaking, and has been leaking since 2004. One thing industries and billionaires do really well is pass the cost of their actions on down to consumers. What I mean is, we're all carrying canvas grocery bags around and bagging our own groceries these days, but 1 gallon of oil in the ocean is equivalent to 200,000 plastic bags. The Taylor oil spill has produced an estimated 140 million gallons of oil, and it's still leaking, and it could continue to leak for 100 more years. 140 million gallons of oil going into the ocean is the equivalent of 28 trillion plastic bags. 28 trillion plastic bags. Just as a reminder, the BP oil spill was 134 million gallons of oil that was poured into the ocean in less than 3 months. See, plastic has long-term impact. Crude oil has immediate impact. And if you just add up the amount of gallons of the Taylor oil spill and the BP oil spill, that is 27 times the amount of single-use plastic that ends up in the ocean, based on how everyone in the world uses plastic. If single-use plastics were outlawed right now, the continued seepage from the Taylor oil spill would still be doing about 14 years worth of damage on it. I really didn't start this as a we can't afford billionaires thing, but it is what it is. So the 2010 BP oil spill opened our eyes on other things. But there was something else really major that happened in 2010, and that was the 2010 election, and that's what we'll be talking about in the next video. Come on back.